today I'm going to be talking about when to read books and when not to read books, because books are very time consuming, they're super expensive, and for most people they can't even read, and that's simply not because they're illiterate or dyslexic, that's because they simply have a too bad attention span. Now today we're going over some of the, what kind of books you should read, because I don't think every type of book is worth a read. We're also going over some of the benefits and some of the cons and how to start reading. So, if you don't know me already, my name is Ben, I make self-improvement content, so if you're interested in that, you should definitely go ahead and subscribe. Alright, so most people would agree that there are 4 areas of life. There is health and attraction, money and business, relationships, and there is knowledge and intelligence. And straight off the bat, I don't think you should reading books about health. I think YouTube is far superior to that. You can watch people like Jeff Nippert get a nice physique. You can watch people on how to look max. You can watch people on how to diet better. I don't think the book is, the answer here. Now the next thing is money and business. And to be honest, business, it kind of gets updated very, very frequently. Myself, I dropped out of business school because the things we were taught there, they were good for in 2010, 2000s, they're good if you're going to be an accountant or something, but the business principles, they're out of date. They're not very useful. So here I wouldn't recommend books either. I know there's a lot of good business books. Personally, I'm not a big fan because they just teach you stuff that you probably already know. So I'm not a fan of business books. The next thing is relationships and girls and psychology and stuff like that. Books is perfect for this. This book is very good for defending yourself against tactics manipulating you. I also know how to win friends and influence people. I don't have the book with me right now, but my editor would put a picture up on screen. Very good for social skills. And I know it sounds counterintuitive to read books on how to get better at getting friends, but I kid you not, it's the best thing ever. All these self-improvement videos on how to get better at friends it's not anything compared to reading books, and most of them are even based on the books. If you watch Hamza on how to get more girls, how to be more charismatic, how to get more friends and stuff, all his principles are pretty much from books. The more books you read, the more you realize, oh, he took this straight from this book, and he's open about it most of the time. Here I would recommend reading books when it comes to friends, charismatic, getting girls and stuff like that. The last area of life is knowledge and intelligence, and here I also recommend reading books. Now this is a bit weird area, but it's mostly just your general knowledge, right? So a book like Atomic Habits, it's not really a business book, it's not really a health book, and it's not really a relationship book, but it's just knowledge, how to do habits and how to do them well. Now that you know what types of books you need to read, you need the benefits in order to motivate you. The first benefit is complete knowledge. Let's say you're watching videos on how to get a nicer physique, right? And you're watching a back video on how to train your back and get a nice lats and stuff. That's incomplete knowledge, if that makes sense. You still have to watch videos on all the other muscles in order to know how to train them. And that's why I say YouTube gives you kind of incomplete knowledge, because it gives you knowledge in small niches, while books, it gives you a subject, and then it makes you master that subject. So for example, Atomic Habits give you the subject of habits, and once you're done reading this book, you're very good at doing habits very well. So this is complete knowledge. Once you're done, you don't really need to go further into the topic. Of course you can, and it's probably smart to do so, but this is a very good starting point, whereas of YouTube, you have to spend a lot of time in order to master it. If I had to watch videos on every single muscle and how to train it properly, I would have to spend a lot of time. The second benefit is it gives you a syllabus, right? If you don't know what to get into or what to research, if you read a book, there's a lot of things you probably won't understand, or some things that may interest you a lot more, like a concept or something, and then you can go on the internet and search more about it. So if you don't really know where to start, I would recommend reading books again. Now the third benefit is super relaxing. You can read a book before bedtime, that's what I personally do. because then you kind of get relaxed and you fall asleep a lot easier. So a book is very great before bed. It's a great alternative to like watching Netflix or going on social media. Like I would prefer reading a book because I fucking hate staying awake. Like usually it takes me like 2 hours to fall asleep. If I've written a book, it's like 30 minutes. So read a book before sleep if you have trouble falling asleep. It just like clears your head of stress and stuff like that. The fourth tip is attention span. Like most people in this day and age, me included of course, don't have a very good attention span because of social media, because of the internet, because of too much stimulation. You have to focus like for 2 hours at a time, which of course strains your attention span. And you shouldn't get frustrated or mad that when you try reading a book that you can't focus for very long. Like that's just how it is, and you just have to keep trying and keep getting better. The fifth tip, this is kind of funny, but it's kind of cool to own books. Like you feel like a gentleman. I have read Psychology of Money. Yes, I've also read 48 Laws of Power. So it kind of gives you something to your ego that I've read over 20 books. I'm pretty smart, I'm pretty cool. But yeah, I mean, I think it's a pretty cool benefit. Now we're going into some of the cons. Now, the first con is it's very time consuming. I can watch a YouTube video, in a very short amount of time and get a lot of knowledge. But with books, it takes a little longer time. But a way to counter this is while you're reading, you have the audio book of it, so you constantly have like a tempo, and you have to think less. You have to focus less on reading because even when you aren't reading, you're just listening to the book. So that's a way to speed up the process of reading. And another con of reading is it's very expensive. If you're reading a book every week, that's like $30 a week, which goes to $120 a month. For most young people, students, that's actually quite a lot of money. So now we're going into the 5 tips on how to get into reading books. The first one is start small. Like start small and buy books that interest you. The first book I read was the 48 Laws of Power, the concise edition, which means this is also why it's so small. So each chapter is like 5 pages, and I just read a chapter every day, and I slowly but surely got better at reading, and I got better at focusing. So this was like a great book for my first book. You can buy it yourself as well. It's pretty interesting. It gives you like 48 laws, of power. And really buy books that interest you. Like I know that maybe I've said that business books are not that good, but if you're very interested in business right now, definitely go ahead and buy business books. Now the second tip on how to get into reading is read before bedtime, or at least have like a certain time room of the day, like a certain part of the day where this is where I read, right? So every day at 20 p.m. I go read, because this just makes it a habit and makes it a lot easier for you to go read, and your brain just goes in that mode, okay, we're reading now. Now the third tip is to delete social media in order to get a better attention span. A lot of you guys easily spend 2 to 4 to 6 to 8 hours every day on social media, and it simply just destroys your brain. Like there's so many cons of social media, and the pros aren't really that many. So I would recommend delete social media. If you're not going to do that, at least put your phone in another room once you go reading. If you're getting a lot of notifications and distractions, do yourself a favor, put it like in another room or something. Now the fourth tip is make your environment reading friendly. If you're new to it, new to reading, like I would just recommend making it as cozy as possible, because then you get like a very positive feeling every time you read, and you're just having fun and being relaxed while reading. So I see it as a way of relaxing while still being a little bit productive. Number 5, never be without a book. There have been weeks when I haven't really bought a book and I wouldn't really read during that time. So always have like a lot of books near you, so you always have something to read. And another thing is you should make like a reading list. I'll put a screenshot in of like my reading list, but I have like, I don't know, 20-30 books that I want to read, So yeah, that was everything. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Definitely go read because it's going to help you a lot. Of course, there's some times where YouTube is simply just better, but most of you guys would know. You would get a lot of benefits from reading because your brain is destroyed. My brain is also destroyed, by the internet and social media. Have a great day. Bye.